Hello artists, this is Ms. Satino again. Here's a cover of The Magic Fish, illustrated by Winslow Penny Pels. Some of her books will say Winslow Pels, some will say Winslow Penny Pels, depending on when they were published. This is a book I showed you some of the illustrations from a couple weeks ago. I have some more examples from the unpublished book Enchanted Fawn. This is a copy of one of the initial sketches, a young boy with a fawn. You can see it's very sketchy. It was done on paper with a real tooth to it, so you see that texture. Then that's step one. Here's step two. Now, don't lift it yet. You'll notice that there's vellum over it, and that's to protect the drawing. As you're working, if some of you are working in pastel or any type of really smudgy material that doesn't come off a lot, that would not work well for charcoal, but things like pencil, colored pencil, you can put a piece of vellum over it as protection so that it wouldn't rub off on the drawing on the other side of her mock-up here. And Mr. Meldrum's going to lift the vellum, and you can see the second step, the drawing. And you can see she's made a lot of changes here. The fawn his position to the little boy is changed. The little boy doesn't have the elaborate clothing that he had in the initial one. She's switched the emphasis of the botanical materials from the right side to the left side. There's much more detail everywhere, and this would be the front cover eventually, is what they're thinking. And she started to plan the type, the Enchanted Fawn, up on the upper right hand side, and that is something that she doesn't have drawn in because she would possibly move it around or change it. Things like that can change drastically, even near the end of a book project. So it's something that's usually done in an overlay. And then we have step number 3, which is she's much farther along in the Prismacolor in this than in the sample I showed you. But if you look at the upper right-hand corner in the botanical leaves, etc., you can see some of the large strokes for that. And this is, I believe, a combo of washes, colored pencil, and even marker. She, as she's matured as an illustrator, she uses more and more things overlapped and combined, overlaid. Whatever she needs to make something the way she wants, she's found ways to combine them. But the main color of the drawings is still colored pencil. And if you look at the fawn ear, the farthest left one that's very close to being completed, you can see that softness of mark and color is something that you can only get with colored pencil, the better quality, soft, saturated colored pencils. Some of the more graphic areas, like his hair, where you see the really graphic shadows and the graphic lock shapes, that you could probably get with also with marker. But there's certain fuzzy, saturated color things that you can only get with colored pencil when it comes to dry media. And thrown in at the end here is an unrelated illustration. This is a poster made from her illustration for the Snow Queen. And most of you know the story of the Snow Queen. I think this was for a theater in, she does a lot of volunteer illustration, and I know there's a children's theater in upstate New York that she does lots of posters for. I'm guessing this is probably one of them. And there's the girl and the boy and the Snow Queen. That's a nice illustration. It's hard to tell because it's so shiny, it's hard to tell, but if you look in the purpley violet areas. You can see a lot of those color, the way the color is mixed. It has an almost chalk-like look. That's definitely Prismacolor. In some of the detailed areas, like the shawl on the little girl that looks like ermine or fur, that might be, I think that's painted detail. I know she uses a lot of egg tempera, and that would be a good way for her to get a thick, almost impasta look to that. The pom-poms, certain of the white areas, look to me, and I can't tell because this is just a smooth poster, it looks to me like those might have been a little dimensional and put on at the end as little highlights. Okay, well, our next video I'm going to show you some samples of how you can begin with colored pencil with the washes and what different colors look like over the same wash, what happens when you layer dark to light, light to dark, and ways for you to experiment if you want to try Prismacolor.